What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Under the Hood. And I am joined today by the man himself, as you know it, Dominic Franchella. Thanks for taking the time, Dom. I know it's tough to do these during the work day and everything else, so really appreciate it. We have tons of stuff to talk about today, so I'm super excited.
As I am, and it's always my pleasure. We'll talk as long as the voice holds up. I'm a little under the weather, but hopefully we make it through the podcast with being able to hear me.
That's never stopped you, so I'm not too worried. This guy never misses a beat, so we'll see if we can duke this one out. So I put something in front of you that was super interesting. Electric Bronco opens up in China. What are your first reactions and thoughts?
Well, surprised because I didn't see it, so you put it in front of me, and it's the first that I'm reading about it. Next, I have a smile ear to ear in hopes that it gets to the U.S. as quickly as possible, which I think it will. But that being said, we're probably looking at least 3 years. But, there's an electric Bronco that is something that is needed. It's probably going to be the size of the Bronco Sport, maybe a little bigger.
Yeah.
Which would replace the void left with the Escape. And from what I understand is it gets like 700 to 800 mile range with it, which solves a lot of problems for people that have anxiety over range. So super excited. It was a big surprise for me when you put it in front of me, but
I know.
I'm happy about it.
I literally was Googling last night just to try and stay on top of all this, and that came up. I didn't believe it at first, but it is a crazy innovation. And, obviously you've mentioned this before to me, and it made me think about how, if you're selling something and that's your flagship, why would you compete against yourself? But I think maybe Ford is realizing now, and do you think this is happening? A customer's a customer. Let's not force people into a box. If they're buying from us, they're buying from us, whether it's here or here or here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Competition from within is good. So it actually makes everybody in an organization or a business want to do better. I wish it came to the U.S. before China, but that being said, the price point of under $33,000 is really amazing. And again, I'm sure that we'll hear a lot more as it actually gets to market, and when and if there'll be plenty of questions already, probably from the media, on when it's going to come to the U.S., if it's going to come to the U.S.
I know it's going to be big, and there's a lot of news coming out this week. The next big thing I'll touch upon, I know China and the EU seem to get everything well before us, but we also have Amazon has now stepped into the ring. Amazon has entered the chat. As far as selling pre-owned Fords, what's your take on that? Because I did not see that coming.
I didn't see it coming either. So first, I'll give you my take on Amazon. They actually were the master of online shopping, and now they're broadening their horizons and dipping their toes in everything. So I believe that instead of being a master of one, they're becoming a jack of all trades, which I don't know if it's good, but it seems to be their business model. But I really don't know enough about this, and I think it could be a good thing for dealers. Obviously, you're shopping through Amazon, but they're literally offering a dealer's inventory. So I would have to see the logistics of how it works.
Yeah.
So I give an example. Let's just see somebody from Ohio shopping for a Bronco, a pre-owned Bronco, and they go through Amazon and see in our inventory, how's it going to be shipped? Who's going to be responsible for the, charges? I mean, key program features 14-day, 1,000-mile money-back guarantee. Well, that's all well and good for the consumer, but who's going to get the vehicle? And if it's far away, who's going to pay for it?
It's true.
So, I mean, I think it could be a great thing, but I would have to see the details and the logistics of how they handle everything.
I don't think they even know what they're really doing yet. I mean, the availability of the program right now, for anyone who's wondering, it's only in LA, Seattle, and Dallas. So those are their test markets right now. Do you think there's any reason for that, why they wouldn't come to the New York market or New York area first? Is there any advantage that you would see strategically?
Well, I would think that the New York market's probably the toughest market, but I don't think LA is an easy market.
No.
So I really don't know what the rhyme or reason is behind choosing those as, their test markets. But I'd rather them be the guinea pigs than we are. So we'll see if it actually works before it gets here.
That is true. I mean, I feel like they're going to start slow, and you're right. New York is a really tough market, and this has come on the string of a lot of announcements from Ford. Another one which I thought was very, very, very interesting was Ford is rolling out a new program for how they want their customers to be treated in their stores. It's all part of a new action plan that I was reading about. And their number one thing, and I want to say this, it was probably even longer than that, 5-6 years ago, this guy gave me a book called Be Our Guest. Very fascinating book, all about how Disney made their mark, turned into the powerhouse that they are, how they built their customer relationships and the Disney experience. And Dom's vision was really wanting to bring the Disney experience to the automotive landscape. And from what I was reading on Ford last night, it's like they're taking that playbook step by step by step to implement in 2026.
Well, they are and they're not. I mean, so I think they've labeled it something 2.0.
Yes.
And
yes.
it's really renovating or building dealerships that literally, if you read about it, are like hotels.
Yeah.
So they want to make the guests comfortable, but yet they talk about online transactions and spending less time in the dealership. Yeah. So to me, it kind of is contradictory of getting somebody really comfortable spending a lot of time here,
Yep.
or having them transact most of the business online and then just coming to pick up a vehicle. So here's the thing. It's a great concept. I don't know what Ford is going to ante up. From what I read, it's not mandatory to dealers now.
Yeah.
I think that anybody that is building a dealership, I think that's part of their program, and I'm sure that Ford is having some kind of financial, partake in doing it.
Incentive, yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I think it's all about customer experience. So let's put it this way: as long as you have a clean facility,
Yeah.
and you treat people like you care and treat them as guests and not customers, I think that they're happy. So, putting all the bells and whistles on a facility, other than it being clean and functioning well, I think is just, sprinkles on a cake.
Yeah, I think people will always choose a good experience over a polished floor, if that makes sense. It's all looks very nice, but at the end of the day, if you're not being treated the way you want to be treated, it makes no difference. But I just thought it was pretty funny how you kind of laid out this playbook and this vision 5 years ago, and it's taken this long for a lot of dealers and a lot of companies to wake up and go, hey, we should probably care about our customers and treat them a little better. I do completely agree with you. I didn't see it that way before, as it is a little contradictory where they're talking about pickup and delivery, and we want people to spend, more online, but then let's make the whole place a place for them to come and
where
hang out.
They're going to spend more time. It's interesting. At the end of the day, here's what I would say, right? First of all, you need a product that people want. And I think that, in my eyes, if they improve quality, they're going to sell them a lot more vehicles than having some facility look like a hotel.
Yeah, that's true. And while we're talking about facilities, Ford, everything else, you guys have probably seen it by now 100 times over by the time you're watching this episode, wherever you guys are watching this, with Farley talking about how there's 5,000 new jobs at 120,000 a year for technicians. What's your feeling about that? Just constantly repeating in the headlines. I've seen it 10 times today already.
Well, yeah, it's all over the news. I don't dispute the fact that there's probably more than 5,000 open technician jobs.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Let's do his math. I don't know where he comes up with $120,000, but let's just say an average work week is 40 hours, okay? So if you take 40 hours and you have to get an hourly rate to get to how much they make a week times 52, think about it. If a technician is making $60 an hour when they're incentive, when they're on producing, that's literally $2,400
Yeah.
a week, right?
Yeah.
Well, 2,000 times 52 is 104.
Yeah.
400 times 52 gets you to the 120,000. But here's the thing. First of all, they have to be able to produce 40 hours.
How realistic is that?
And what he really doesn't talk about is producing 40 hours customer pay-wise, where you're using guides that give a technician fair compensation for what they do, is a lot easier than when they're working on a warranty job for Ford and Ford cuts their time in half. So for them to produce 40 hours on warranty jobs is nearly impossible. So when you come up with $120,000, yeah, $60 an hour, which is top pay for an A technician. And that's in this part of the country. Other parts of the country, it's not that high. Producing 40 hours on strictly customer pay jobs can be done. But when you're working on warranty, as we know, our technicians are severely underpaid because the number of hours they're paid to do a job that takes much longer, Ford doesn't compensate them for.
Yeah, it really does beg the question is if it's realistic or not. Like numbers are numbers, but are they obtainable? Are they achievable? And this is kind of a fun question I thought of. Dominic Franchella, congratulations. You're now the CEO of Ford Motor Company. Very happy to have you. I think you're going to do great things.
Well, what's my compensation? Because I'd have to sign a contract first. And what's the term of my employment?
You didn't get it? See, this is why this guy is this guy, because, of course, only he would ask that question first of all on a hypothetical. I love it. What is your game plan? What would it be? And I get it. It's tough to come up with it on the spot, but I want to show people how your brain works. As it is amazing. What would be your game plan first quarter of next year on how to turn this around, how to get it going? What direction do you move in, or do you even know? It's really hard.
Well, listen, I don't know if I'd even want that job, but
yeah.
Here's the thing. There in that world, there's a million things moving in different directions at the same time. But if you say, what are you going to concentrate in the first quarter of next year? It's simple. You have to get a relationship with your employees and your dealers where there's trust and transparency both ways. So that is first and foremost, because you could do a million other things, improve quality, produce new products. If you don't have that relationship with your team members first and then your customers, then everything is all over. So if it's me, I'm looking at where we are, honesty and transparency from where we are, feedback, and then putting where I want to get to in the first quarter with how we improve relationships internally and externally.
Yeah, and for those people that are like, challenged by numbers like myself, what is the difference between profitability and scale, and how those two things come into play in a business?
Well,
like
I
this?
mean, obviously, unless you're a nonprofit company, which Ford's not and we're not, profitability is very important. You're a business. Scale is a whole different thing. So you have to scale your business to produce profits. So although they're two totally different things, it's hand in hand. So you can't scale your business to one level when that level doesn't produce a profit for you. So listen, it's a juggling act.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult juggling act. The juggler that's juggling those things are actually juggling fireballs.
I'm sure.
So, listen, being a CEO of a company like Ford or, a Fortune 500 company, hats off to those people.
Yeah.
It takes special skill set. It takes a special mindset. It's not an easy job. You're constantly second guessed. But at the end of the day, it comes down to core values of transparency, honesty, and relationships with both your team members and your customers.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. It's a tough job. I mean, CEO is a tough job anyway. I've learned a lot from watching you over the years and everything that you've had to navigate and go through. So it's definitely coming from you. Having said that, you definitely see how difficult it is, especially when I was looking at their quarter three, like just their EV division alone is like 1.1 billion at a loss, and that's why I wanted to ask about scale and profitability, because they're really trying to scale, but they're not profitable at all. Yet they're investing another 5 billion next year into this platform. Do you think that's the way to go? Is that a doubling down?
It's not the way to go if I'm CEO, but listen, they're making investments that they they're gonna think they're gonna see returns in the future. I think it's $5 to $6 billion they already lost in electric.
It is. Yeah.
Anteing up again where electric is really questionable as far as sustainability, especially without government intervention, is a big risk for me. I think much more safe or less riskier road is hybrid.
Yeah.
Which they are doing some.
Yep.
But no, if I was a CEO, I wouldn't be looking to lose another $1 to $1.5 billion to make an affordable small truck, or in the hopes that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the line we're profitable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge point. And then also they're scrapping the F-150 Lightning. So that's the other thing is they're talking about.
Is that official? I mean,
I don't know if it's official.
I would tell you that I agree that they're going to.
Yeah.
I don't think if they made an official announcement, but let's face it. Listen, it was a novelty in the beginning.
Yeah.
How many people can really afford an $80,000 to $100,000 electric truck?
You can't.
That only has certain use. And take a look at Tesla. I think they have somewhere $600 to $700 million of these cyber trucks they can't sell. So again, it's a novelty, and I think that it's a wise move to lick your wounds and discontinue it.
I think so too. I think it was more of a toy, at least from like all the deliveries that I did with it. The people that were buying it, not towing, not using it as a work truck. It was a commuter car, and even still then, it didn't meet the expectation that they said. Not with all the tech that was.
Well, a bottom fell out of the market in a hurry. I mean, when they couldn't produce them, and it was a novelty, they're selling over MSRP. Now you can't even sell them at cost.
No, that is true. What do you think as far as like the end of the year now? Where did we kind of end up this year in terms of where you thought we would be starting the year? Are you right around where your predictions were for how this year would go? Was it on target?
You're talking about Stamford Ford or Ford?
Well, I'd like your opinion on both.
Stamford Ford, our performance this year was nowhere near our projections or our goals. So, you learn. Business is something that's up and down. Anybody that doesn't believe that isn't in it. And what I would say is if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. So no, we had a disappointing year financially, but there's a lot of lessons to be learned and opportunities to take advantage of. Ford Motor Company, listen, I think you have to be extremely happy. They keep reporting billions of dollars in profits quarter after quarter, even with losing on the electric end. And so I would think that no, they beat the street. They're well over what they thought they would do. So 2026 a new year. I think that we're going to come back strong, and I'm hoping it's a good year with Ford too.
No, we always find a way. That's the one thing here is we always find a way to innovate. We always find a way to to change and make the best of the situation, no matter what it is. And that's why our customers see us as who we are. And that's why we have a lion behind us. But thank you for taking the time. The voice held up today, so I'm super happy
We're
about
going to
that.
talk about one thing, though, CJ.
Oh, you want to talk? You want
about
to keep
innovation.
going? I was gonna
just quickly. I'm going to innovation. So
Absolutely.
right now we have what's called Robbie the Robot, and we started this just yesterday. An amazing company makes robots that can carry up to 440 pounds of parts that are programmed to deliver parts from our parts department to the service bays of technicians. So Matt and CJ might be able to get a little video that they'll put up for you of Robbie the Robot. That's one of the innovations that we're putting in place. Another innovation is going to be our service drive, where we have a company called UVI. And the technology first was used at military bases, where when vehicles pulled up, you see them scanning the bottom. This technology looks for leaks, looks for everything under a car. It takes 1,200 to 1,300 pictures in seconds.
Yeah.
And it gives a customer a view of any damage prior or after. So innovation here, we like to actually be the guinea pigs and beat the market than to ride the coattails of someone that tried it. So we're going to continue to innovate, whether it's with technology or processes or people, to make sure that we're able to give the experience that all our loyal, great customers deserve.
Absolutely. And you heard it from the workhorse here himself. A good sneak peek into what you can expect that we're putting in here at Stamford Ford towards the end of the year. Keep your eyes peeled. If you see Robbie the Robot, we're happy to bring him over. We're actually going to try and bring him on the show and have him roll by, just so you guys can get a visual on what we're talking about. We'll definitely put some stuff up on social media. Thank you guys so much for all your support, for tuning in. Absolute pleasure to make content for you guys, and Dom alike. Absolutely. This is such a great experience and a great show where we get to talk about these things, and we want to have conversations. So please share with us your comments on what you think about what's going on with Ford in the news and the headlines. We will try and get to it and address all your questions. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you guys. We'll see you in the next one.